Alright, it will be time that I show you one of the new nanocores that I did get for the Hyperion. Now initially I did plan to get one of the new Concord nanocores, but unfortunately they have expired and I really want a defensive core on this ship. Basically the idea is to improve the armor repair capability on the Hyperion and of course to improve the overall armor volume. And this new core is exactly what I needed. Now you all know that I fly ridiculously tanked ships, and you all know that I have some very expensive builds. Well, one of the most ridiculous ships that I have ever made is exactly the Hyperion. And with this core, I made this ship even more broken. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Now this is the current build, basically quad armor repair setup that I really love. And the new nanocore is the Burning Knight nanocore. Now this is one very rare core that has been given to the winners of one of the last events. And let me show you the main attributes. Railgun damage, 24% extra armor repair and 24% armor. Of course, I did pick the extra armor repair because, well, that's basically what I was looking for. And that one attribute is really good. You all know that the Hyperion has already bonus on armor repair, so that nanocore and that default bonus will improve that even more. Now let me quickly show you the other levels that you can unlock and the other attributes that you can get. You all know that I will go for maximum possible armor, so I'll definitely go and pick either damage or extra armor repair or extra armor volume. That's basically the ideal nanocore setup that I want to have on this ship. And yes, I plan to fully level up this nanocore because why not? After all, my goal is to create a very overpowered Hyperion, and I'm on a good track to actually do that. Now, the color pattern on this nanocore is actually really good, although I would prefer something like the Balgorn design, but this will do. Also looks very nice, and I did try to make this ship look as menacing as possible, and I think I did a good job on that. Was of course inspired by the Blood Raider camouflage pattern and did try to make something similar to that. And this is basically the end result. Overall, I really like this ship and how it looks. Now, still using the good old 4P combat rig integration setup that is built for maximum armor repair, and of course I did add some armor resistance to that as well. The only thing that I have to change is the engineering rigs. I want full-on rig integrations on this as well for maximum possible capacitor performance. Here you can take a look at the armor. Overall, really nice. A very nice kinetic resistance, which is helpful if you are fighting Galente ships, which happens to be the case for the Hyperion. Using C-type blasters, although I also like to use the long-range railguns. They are really good, very good range on the railguns, but poor tracking. As for the blasters, they have very good DPS, but very poor range. Here you can take a look at armor repair, 3.4 thousand every 7 seconds. I can improve that if I want to. I have the build that can get this to 5 seconds, which sometimes I like to use. But 7 seconds currently is more than enough. 2 minutes 48 seconds is the capacitor runtime. When I go into full-on chunk mode, I stop shooting and focus on maximum possible capacitor performance. And in the chunk mode, I can last for around 8 minutes max with all 4 repairers running. Now, one of the next nanocores will definitely go to the Balgorn. Basically, At first I thought that I would get the chance to get that Nanocore on this ship, but that wasn't the case. I don't see the Nanocore for the Battleground be available, so I did go for the Hyperion, but eventually in the future I will get a repair Nanocore on the Battleground, because why not? After all, this is one of the signature ships that I fly. Basically a ship that I'm known for, so I want to have the Battleground as ridiculous and broken as possible. So it will be time to show you how much armor this thing can repair. So the first test will be against dual DPS Apocalypse Strikers. Both of these ships have around 3.5 to 4000 DPS. I think the average DPS output on the Apocalypse Striker is around 4 to 5000. And as you can see, the armor repairs overwhelm the incoming DPS, and I'm able to survive the incoming DPS from these two ships. And I don't even have to run all repairs at all time. 3 armor repairs or 2 armor repairs running at all time should maintain the armor in a very good condition. Now the capacitor is a little bit low because I did forget to click on record. This is basically after a couple minutes have already passed, and the capacitor is still up and running, the armor is still up and running. Overall, I think that the Hyperion passes the Striker Battleship test, can easily tank 2 of them for a very long time. Now, I think it will be time to, increase the difficulty of the test, and let's see how it will tank a carrier, a DPS carrier. Now, the carrier is using quad target painters, and I can tell you that the incoming DPS is a little bit more serious now. However, the armor repairers easily overwhelm the incoming DPS, and I'm able to fully repair the armor of this ship very quickly. Now I will probably use the Hyperion as capacitor battery, and I think that I don't even need to use all 4 repairers at the same time. Basically, I'll try out to see with how many repairers I can tank a DPS carrier. The carrier should have around 7000 DPS, maybe a little bit above 7000, not quite sure. Quad armor repairs easily repair the armor, okay. The fighters are also doing really good damage. The target painters will improve the damage application on the fighters, because the fighters do have the explosion velocity and explosion radius stat, which is similar to missiles. With 3 armor repairs, I am able to maintain the armor. Still using C-types. I actually have A-type armor repairs, but currently they are located on the Battleground, because the Battleground did get a very nice build that I did work on. The goal with the Battleground is to have full-on officer modules. Not quite sure when that will happen, but yeah, that's my goal with the Blood Raider Vampire, basically my favorite ship in the game, and as favorite will get a very expensive build at one point. Well, dual armor pair seems to be able to hold really well. So far, I'm actually very happy with the build, and I'm actually thinking, is it even like worth to make it even more overpowered? I think it will be worth, because why not? Would be very funny if I'm able to repair like 90% of shield with one quad armor repair cycle. That would actually be hilarious. And I'll see how much armor can I repair once I have this Nanocore maxed out. Will take some time, I know, but eventually I will have the Nanocore at a very, very high level. Alright, well, let's blow up some ships, because that's basically one of my favorite activities in this game. I like to destroy ships, and I know that a lot of you like to watch ships being destroyed, so I guess we have something in common. Will be fun. Now the first target is this Stabber fleet that has the Comet Nanocore, and I see a lot of the Comet Nanocores. Personally, I did not get one, not quite sure how they were obtainable, but yeah, there is a lot of these cores floating around, and I've heard that they're good. I've heard that they are really good, but personally haven't tested them out. Not a bad kill, 150 million for a Stabber fleet, that's actually pretty solid. And yes, they had the... They did have the Comet Nanocore. Next target we have a Merlin Assault. I still remember the good old days where the assault frigates were considered top tier. Back then I did fly the RB covertops, and oh man, I really, you know, I feel so much nostalgia when I think about those moments 2.5 years ago. And when I look back, it was definitely a very nice experience. Not saying that the experience now is bad, I still have phenomenal experience with the game, and I still have a lot of fun. It's just that I started to fly very big ships that cost a lot. Back then I never thought that I would fly a battleship. Back then I never thought that I would fly a carrier or dreadnought. And back then I never even imagined that that I would actually fly a Balgorn or any other very tanky battleship. But now, you all know that I fly bricks, literal bricks. Like, the ships that I built sometimes end up being ridiculous. This thing, the Hyperion, is a pure example of that, because I'm not quite sure if I have a more ridiculous ship than this. I know the Balgorn was ridiculous at one point because of how much ISK I actually spent on that. Oh, we have a Vexor warping in. That's interesting. And looks like this Vexor has a cloaking device. Well, that's unique. A cloaky Vexor. Alright. Well, that's interesting. I am definitely not going to go and trace a Vexor in this, especially without a afterburner or a micro warp drive. You know, the Hyperion is actually not that slow. If you slap one afterburner or micro warp drive on the ship, you can easily get around 1.5 kilometers per second micro warp drive speed on the Hyperion, which is actually really fast for a tanky battleship. The Balgorn is the slowest battleship, and it will definitely remain the slowest battleship for a very long time. Not quite sure how fast the Triglavians will be in this game. I expect them to be quick, but we will see what will happen. That's basically what I expect, but doesn't necessarily have to be what will happen. And honestly, now when I think about it, 2 years ago, I couldn't fly a slow ship. I was very, very uncomfortable in slow ships. But now, after flying the bricks that I fly, even the Stratios is not that slow for me at the moment, which is kind of ridiculous because back then I was so uncomfortable in a ship that did not go above 2 kilometers per second. I had basically the baseline of 2.5 kilometers per second that a ship has to go with the micro warp drive in order for me to be, you know, to be usable. But now even like 500 meters per second is more than enough. I guess that's part of learning how the game works over time. And with time, I definitely got comfortable in a lot of ships that I couldn't fly a year or two ago because of the speed or because of, let's say, the DPS or something similar. I also used to fly DPS only ships, basically glass cannon builds that were good at the time, did work really well at the time, and some of the builds that I made are actually still good, like the build on the Ashimu that is still good even after 2 years, which is the build that I personally really like, and a build that made in, I think I made around 100 plus videos on the Ashimu. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Let's say 50. That build is present in 90% of all Ashimu videos that I made. So yeah, the Ashimu build still does really good. Now I was hoping that we would get jumped so that I can do one more tank test, just to show you how quick the armor on this ship can be repaired from around 10% to 100%, but unfortunately I wasn't that lucky and no fleet did arrive in the system for a couple days now, so I had to go and run some missions just to show you how quick this thing can recover the armor. The previous test did serve to show how much DPS it can take, but now I just want to show you how quick the armor on this thing goes back up. And of course, this is with the non-upgraded Nanocore. That means there is room for massive improvement. And of course, I still don't use the A-type repairers, because I'll say that for another time. I will say that once the Nanocore is upgraded, and then, oh, then things are going to be fun. When I show you around 5,000 armor repair every cycle, that's going to be ridiculous. That would be around 20,000 armor repaired every 7 seconds. And eventually, one day, I will definitely go with X-type modules. And of course, one day, hopefully, I will run officer modules on this ship as well. That's basically the long-term goal with these ships, because I like to make most of my ships iconic in one way or another. The Balgorn did do that job really well, and that's one of my most... Actually, let me correct myself. The Balgorn is my most successful ship to date. It surpassed the Ortus, it surpassed anything else that I had. And I'm really happy that I did fly the Balgorn. Hopefully I'll never lose the ship, but we will see what will happen. Now the armor slowly going down, and I'm clearing the ships here with ease. The DPS might feel kinda lacking on this ship, but it's not that bad when you think about it. After all, you don't need high DPS on the Hyperion, although you can definitely make the Hyperion have very good DPS, but in my case I went full on tank, and the idea with this build is to outlast your target. Basically, the goal is to outlast the shield or armor of your target, and then you destroy the target. Surprisingly, to break the tank of this ship, you need around 4 DPS, 5 DPS Battleship strikers, which is, you know, a decent force. And even then, you would need around 1 minute and 20 seconds to go through the armor repairs. So even with 4 or 5 of these strike battleships, you still are risking the Hyperion to jump through the gate. So you practically have to bring a lot of DPS, and I mean a lot of DPS, or you bring 1 or 2 dreadnoughts to just delete this ship off the grid. In that case, if the Hyperion knows what they're doing, they will definitely not engage a Dreadnought. But if they do engage the Dreadnought, then it's a very, very dead Hyperion. So yeah, that's one of the tactics how you destroy a ship that has a broken tank like this. Or you bring a Balgorn and you bring one DPS ship. One ship that does kill the Hyperion with this broken tank is a Balgorn, because Blood Raider vampires kill capacitors. Once this ship loses capacitor, it's very much dead. And that's where the capacitor boosters will kick in the future. That's one of the modules that I'm personally very excited about, and one of the modules that I'll definitely use a lot on my tanky battleships. Once it is released, of course, and I'm pretty sure that it will be released. After all, it is one very, very useful and important module in EVE Online, and of course I expect that module to arrive here as well. So let me continue with the mission. Basically, I want to show you the armor repairs on this, and so far, as you could see, it recovers armor really quickly. Now, the ideal armor tank battleship would be something between a Balgorn and a Hyperion, a ship that will have armor repair stats like the Hyperion, and a ship that will have the Nosferatu bonus like the Balgorn. Combine those two stats and you have a very, very nice ship. That would probably be overpowered. So of course, for the sake of balance, we don't have a ship like that, but I think at one point I'll be able to get close to that. Still have to see how this thing will work with the engineering rig integrations. So I'm very excited to see how that will work. Or maybe at one point the Balgorn will get a Nanocore that will give the Balgorn armor repairs like the Hyperion. And of course that will make the Balgorn very, very strong, so will most likely make the ship a little bit overpowered. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to find the accurate words for that. I think it will be very, very overpowered. And one of my friends just trolled me in chat. Basically, while recording this, I'm also looking at the game window that I have opened up, and well, one of my friends has posted a Naglfar loss, and I tried to click on it, but it did not work because it's not a real loss. So yeah, I got trolled, but that's fine. Wasn't really sure what was happening because we are here. We're currently camping on the gate with 1, 2, 3 capital ships, 2 Naglfars, and there is this revelation that I'm flying. I'll probably, you know, leave that on screen just to see what I'm talking about. But yeah, let's repair the armor. And now from low armor I am into full armor in less than 2 cycles. Very nice. A-types repair a lot faster, but I'll save that once the Nanocore is leveled up, because I really want to show you the most broken Hyperion in the game, and that will be the most broken Hyperion in the game. Not quite sure if there is another Hyperion as tanky as this, but I'm definitely going to go after the first place once this Nanocore is leveled up. And of course, when I slap the good old A-type armor repairers, because that's what I do. Or maybe X-types, who knows. I know that we have couple pilots in Corp that have couple X types. I'll definitely not say who they are, because they would probably yeah, we have couple pilots that have X-type modules on their ships. So yeah, overall exciting stuff, because that means that I'll be using X-types at one moment, and you know that I will use that into PvP, because that's what I do. I think I'm one of the only PvP pilots who actually uses ridiculously expensive ships for PvP. When I say ridiculously expensive ships, I don't mean a carrier or dreadnought. I'm mostly talking about a ridiculously expensive battleship or Battlegorn, or you know, something like that. The dreadnoughts that I use, yeah, they are expensive, but it's a dreadnought. They are expensive by default, so that is to be, you know, expected. Not really sure if I will fly a super capital, maybe, if I have where to dock one of these things. In EVE Online, I think you can dock these ships in a normal station. You need one of the different stations that can be destroyed, so if I'm not able to dock them in a normal station, then most likely I will not fly a super capital, but maybe if I can park them on the gate, and if it doesn't work away, then maybe, but we will see what will happen. Overall, I'm very excited for the future of this game. I think now we're entering the really fun part with the new upcoming ships in the future. That's my theory. That's what other players also think, and I'm saving up for the new ships. I don't know what new ships we will get. I have no information. I don't know anything. Okay, I'm just guessing. Basically, a friendly guess. What my instincts tell me. I'm mostly excited for the, let's say, Black Ops battleships that might come at one point. I'm definitely flying that, by the way. Black Ops battleships that can open Sino, that can open a bridge, and you can basically send your fleet to enemy territory. And well, I already have a lot of ideas that I will definitely do when we get a ship like that. We'll most likely fly the Amar. I think it was called the Redimir, something like that. I will fly that because lasers. I think it's very obvious that our corporation likes lasers. We have a bunch of Battlegorns, we have a bunch of Revelations, we have a bunch of Apocalypse Strikers, we have a bunch of anything that's laser, basically. Still, my favorite fleet that we did so far is the Battlegorn fleet. There is something very terrifying about seeing 20 Battlegorns just lined up and, you know, just sitting there waiting for something to pop in. That's a fleet that can easily kill a dreadnought by killing its capacitor, and the rest is just, you know, Battlegorn stuff. Web, orbit, and kill. That's basically how these ships work. And of course, obviously, we all like Blood Raiders and lasers, so we have such a lethal and a big fleet. Now, besides lasers, we also like cannons. We also have a very nice Macarial fleet. I also have a Macarial that I haven't been flying in a very long time. I actually thought about selling the Macarial, but I can't do that. That's basically the only thing that remains from my old alliance and the old corporation that basically did introduce me to Syndicate, and basically that's the original alliance and the corp that did end up being Mug, and so far the Macariel does represent a lot of things, honestly, so I really can't sell that ship. I'd rather just keep the ship with the sweet memories of the previous corporation and alliance. Not really sure what happened to them. I know that once Catch has collapsed, that they went to a different coalition that also collapsed recently. Not quite sure what's happening with them at the moment. Not quite sure if they're active. Not quite sure if any of them remember our days in Syndicate. But basically, our current corporation is the product of the original Legion that was the original corp in Syndicate. It's very funny when I think about it that we started with a corp that had 5 members, and now we're basically one of the game's most known killers, literally, or campers if you wanna call them like that, but that's okay. Both are, I would guess, fun things, so I don't mind. But yeah, also very nostalgic when I think about how I met all of these people that I'm flying with now. And I guess that's part of the EVE experience. You meet a lot of people along the way, and when you find the right company, when you find the players that you like to play with, you are practically inseparable, and that's the case with Mug. We all hold together really well, and overall I don't plan to change the corp, never. I'm staying in Mug even if all of them end up leaving the game, which will not happen. But yeah, I'm definitely going to stay in this corporation for as long as I can. Hopefully until the game goes down, and that will happen probably in, I don't know, 20 years or something. Who knows? Anything is possible. So I have repaired the armor, and of course this is the last wave of this mission. I'm very happy with the tank, very happy with the Hyperion. This ship did impress me a lot, and to show my gratitude to the Hyperion, I will definitely max out the Nanocore, and this ship will get the same treatment as the Balgorn, and that means the Hyperion will get very expensive modules, and eventually the Hyperion will also receive officer modules, which is the same goal that I have on the Balgorn at the moment. So that's also one of the projects that I will have for this ship. Which leaves us with the question: what's the next ship that will get the same treatment as the Hyperion and Balgorn? Well, I don't know. I really don't know at the moment. Those are my 2 favorite battleships currently, and I don't plan to stop liking these ships anytime soon. We will see how they will work. We will see the new ships that will be introduced into the future. So yeah, definitely that's why I'm saying that it's a very fun time to play the game. The new ships and the new modules, and overall the overall future stuff that will definitely make into this game from EVE Online is making me very excited. So we will see how things will end up, of course. I'm also personally looking forward to wormholes. Oh man, let me tell you, I think this is already a topic for another video, but I'm very excited for wormholes. And of course the drone region. When wormholes are out, I don't know, I think it will be very exciting, because there's always the possibility to get lost inside wormholes, and a lot of players and a lot of people usually are afraid of the unknown, while in my case I would rush into the unknown head in first, and that's what will happen when wormholes are released. I already have a Stratius, I already have an Astro, and I'm already looking forward to develop tactics for wormhole hunt. That's what I'm going to do. Oh man. The thought of that alone makes me very excited for wormholes. And I don't know. All I can say is it will be fun.
Warp drive active.
Alright, well, that was the mission done with the Hyperion, and of course the armor has been recovered very quickly. So, hope that you enjoyed. Overall, a very, very fun video to make. And honestly, I really like this ship. Really like the Nanocore. I would say this Nanocore is really, really strong, really good. And I'm very glad and very happy to have a chance to actually use it. So, will be interesting to see how it will perform against a big fleet, or how it will perform in one of our special operations that we like to do from time to time. So, with that being said, hope that you enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I'll answer all of them. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.